Hi mga kapanga! Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Hey Adam G. Kamusta kayong lahat? By the way guys, maraming salamat po sa mga magagandang feedback na nakukuha ko mula sa inyo in my latest episodes here on my channel. It really feels good that I still enjoy majority of your trust and support here because I really love what I'm doing and I'm really grateful to hear all your great feedback and even the bad ones. So at this point, I have already learned the art of deadma when I read some of your comments here. And luckily, despite the negativity, I am so thankful na hindi pa rin nawawala yung alab sa puso ko to continue vlogging, especially now that Miss Universe Philippines has just started. Excited pa rin ako talaga mag-vlog. And so here I am about to make another content about it. But this time, in sharing more of my thoughts about how these ladies should proceed in the competition. Because the recently concluded press presentation was such a remarkable affair to kick things off. But I feel the ladies were severely limited in a lot of aspects, which is why I am sharing more of my suggestions how these ladies, especially the newbies, could stand out in the competition as early as now. Because let's face it, there are 69 contestants this year. And so the field is very wide and competitive. Ang dami-dami talaga nila this year. And so naturally, it's so easy for all of us to just focus on the pageant veterans and check the newbies not getting the same exposure their veteran counterparts are getting. And ang masakit pa dito, these newbies haven't been exerting so much effort in presenting or introducing themselves on their social media platforms. Because I noticed these newbies and even the ones from the previous batches have been too reliant on the organization's initiatives and activities all the time. So it's very worrisome for me. Because when you are a newbie, of course you would like to be seen and heard, and you can't just be too reliant for the organization to do the whole work for you, especially if you want to make a mark or dent in the competition, which is to win the crown eventually. And especially when you check out their Instagram accounts, all you will just see are the typical glam shots one would have for their respective campaigns. And so, aminin ko, following them has already become so dry and boring as early as now. I know glam shots, glam photo shoots have become a staple in one's arsenal when competing for pageantry, but I hope these ladies will double their effort or take the initiative to do the work for themselves in making a mark in the competition instead of relying too much on the organization or their respective stylists or glam teams. Because I really feel these photo shoots are already so 2015 or 2018 already. And I need to see some spark naman and creativity from these ladies to showcase themselves on social media. Kasi when you compete for a title like Miss Universe Philippines, you are putting yourself in the public eye. You are putting yourself out there. So you really have to stand out in a lot of ways. Not just with all the events and activities of the pageant, sponsored events and appearances where you're always wearing the same color-coded outfits all the time, but on your own as well. Tapos, it also doesn't help that the Miss Universe Thailand organization has already partly unveiled its roster of candidates this year as early as now. So, lalong nahahati pa yung mga atensyon natin. So, what now, ladies? So, this content is really suggesting and creating more ideas for our Miss Universe Philippines contestants to really step it up as early as now. How to stand out in Miss Universe Philippines in a different manner or in an out-of-the-box way. I'm not saying that these ladies should all follow me, but please note that please note that all these ladies may not follow my suggestions I'm about to say, as these are just my suggestions, but it's up to these ladies to follow it or not, whether it could work on their respective campaigns right now or not. This content is really all about creativity, and I'm here to spark their interest and creativity more in this year's competition. First tip, collaborate with more upcoming or young fashion designers by tapping their skills and talent. I know photo shoots always works given the picture sharing features of all our social media platforms, so it's always a joy to see these ladies offer a visual in their curated posts on their social media platforms. They always look well-styled in all their glam photos, and I keep seeing the same set of glam photos all the time. The same set of designers doing all their wardrobes. I'm thinking, why not tap these young creative minds to wear their different creative art-inspired pieces just to take it up a notch and offers a different kind of visual at the same time. And so one young designer that easily comes to mind is Vilric Cruz, who made this unforgettable golden Tara of Agusan outfit for Michelle D when she attended the Mega Ball during her reign. This look really complemented Michelle's fierce aura and persona, and really made us appreciate Michelle's efforts in looking for pieces that would make her stand out already before competing for Miss Universe later that year. So I hope the current crop of our contestants this year will also feel more energized and inspired to tap young fashion designers to enhance their candidacies. And while it may look very easy for these ladies to do this by doing an X deal or come out with an agreement in doing this collaboration, I still need to emphasize that this kind of collaboration should always be on mutual benefit. Not just for the contestant involved, but for the designer himself as well. It is also very important kasi that these ladies exercise respect and professionalism when it comes to doing this kind of work, especially that there are parts of the agreement which could remain unfulfilled if not given attention. There is really a need for us to innovate in this aspect, especially now that our neighboring countries are fast catching up with us in the world stage. And ang dami-dami nating mga young or bagets na designer in our industry, and we really have to keep it fresh all the time because their perspective is still fresh and hasn't been tapped. So I hope our current crop of MUPH candidates could really explore this idea. Second tip, do a TikTok or an online podcast or any type of content to showcase your personality. You know, should we thank COVID-19 for the art of the podcast becoming a full-blown renaissance right now? Because when I was a teenager, I super enjoyed watching my favorite DJs in the FM radio with their perfect English-speaking skills and accent, apart from hearing my favorite songs in the car. And so fast forward to this generation, the concept of podcasts has enjoyed so much popularity around the world as its growth in recent years has been very outstanding. Podcasting is a way for people from the millennials to the boomers to the Gen Zs to have meaningful conversations with others that can be shared with a target audience. So it's fun, it's unique to ask. It's a very fun and unique way to ask questions and learn from them through their answers, and that's the best part about podcasting. So a typical listener can learn from a VIP about that particular topic he's talking about, and from one podcast to another. Thought leadership is everywhere, educating us in innovative ways. And the coolest thing about this is that you don't need to have millions of listeners to make an impact as a podcaster. So the key here is just engaging your audience online and cater them with your interests. And so one example that I really admire about this is the Youthquake Live podcast through life-changing entertainment. The key here talaga is to really engage and reach out to your followers by making relatable content. And sadly, I don't know why these ladies, these MUPH ladies, haven't explored the idea of doing this in making themselves more visible and known in the competition. Usually, we are only content in seeing them being interviewed one-on-one or ambushed in a lot of events. But this kind of setup hardly comes from their own effort. So this is why they need to take it upon themselves to introduce themselves to us online without relying so much on us pageant vloggers to do the work for them all the time. And so one MUPH candidate whom I feel is very close to executing what I am already talking about here is Miss Rachel Hoco from Oriental Mindoro. I'm really surprised to find out that she is a content creator and has 1 million following both on TikTok and Instagram already. Her social media following is definitely at par with the following of her veteran counterparts here in MUPH. And I'm so glad that she is really taking the initiative to film more relatable content about herself, whether on or off MUPH stage. And I just wonder why she hasn't explored the idea of doing a podcast, given that she is competing for MUPH right now. So, because I really feel it will make her reach out to more people, especially me, who still has no idea about her personality at all. Kasi so far, puro aura-aura video with her fellow MUPH contestants and sponsored posts yung mga nakikita ko sa kanya lately. But at least, to be fair with her, this lady is really showing us something different already as early as now. And so I hope she and her fellow MUPH candidates could also explore this podcasting idea for their respective campaigns here in Miss Universe Philippines. Third tip, explore the concept of the drag culture scene here in our country. This is definitely an out-of-the-box idea or concept I am pitching in for this content, as this has never been done before. Well, at least here in Miss Universe Philippines, because I really feel our current crop of contestants need to be exposed to the concept of the drag culture here in the Philippines, just for their respective personalities or creative juices to really come out. Because there is no longer excitement, I feel, when all these contestants show up wearing the same color and type of dresses in every sponsored event that they have been subject to going lately. And so I feel there is a need for them to really spice it up in a very limited situation or setting that they are always subject to. When former Miss Universe title holder Pia Wurtzbach guested on the Philippine Drag Race show back in 2022 as a judge for its fun Miss Shoota Ka pageant segment, diba naalala nyo, she brilliantly made a reinterpretation of her winning blue Miss Universe gown with a drag twist on it. Apart from Pia emphasizing my number one point here to collaborate with, in this case, fashion designer Jot Losa and stylist Adrian Concepcion, this drag take on her gown really captured our hearts and imagination with its combination of our appreciation for our local gay culture and love for pageantry. And ang bongga ng kinalabasan, di ba? Tignan nyo. And I did not realize how this fusion of pageantry and drag could work seamlessly after this. And this kind of collaboration kind of continued during the same year when, remember, Graciela Liman, who was a Binibining Pilipinas candidate then, teamed up with TV host and movie actor Paolo Ballesteros in coming out with this beautiful tikbalang national costume, which proved to be a creative hit during the pageant. Because if you remember, the execution of her tikbalang costume was so gay and artistic, which really made me realize that when pageantry mixed with drag, mas lumalabas pa talaga lalo yung mga personalities ng queens natin. And I applaud Graciela Liman for not being too scared to go that route, knowing that she is competing for Binibining Pilipinas, which we all know is a very conservative entity. And this trend has been very alive and continued all the way till last year when Marina Summers made her story, diba, as the first ever drag queen to grace the stage of Miss Universe Philippines last year. So you see, this kind of fusion has already been happening, and majority of our contestants have not explored this idea to really make them a standout in the competition as early as now. And finally, we go to my fourth tip, which is be creative with your captions and your narrative. I know the first three suggestions could involve a huge budget when exploring these kinds of undertaking, but there is another simple option for our aspiring contestants to exercise creativity. Simplehan na lang natin. They can do it through their captions with all their posts on their social media accounts. Especially if one is creative, witty, or has a fat brain or matabang utak, this undertaking should not be hard for them. Because we all remember how Michelle D was so creative with her Dora the Explorer narrative when she finally set foot in El Salvador for Miss Universe 2 years ago. And so likening herself to Dora for both their love for short hair and traveling, Michelle definitely was clever to use this hashtag or paandar to make herself more relatable to her audience, given how some had really perceived her to be so alta and snob in person, diba? So bentang-benta talaga yung mga ganyang caption niyang yon, that it extended all the way to how she endeared herself to all her fans and even her fellow candidates like Antonia Persil in the pageant. So sometimes, come to think of it, All it takes is one creativity to make a spark in the competition. And alam nyo, one MUPH candidate who I feel is so close in achieving this hashtag Dora the Explorer narrative is Zoe Gabon from Naga City. Her name is catchy already, but I feel she has the potential to do well big time in this competition, given how she is slowly opening herself up to us pageant fans as early as now. Because I really admire her bravery for documenting her weight loss journey in one of her posts on TikTok, complete with her unfiltered face when she was younger then, and then challenges that she went through in life as well. So she has so many interesting facets about her backstory that makes me so interested to get to know her more as early as now. Of course, when you see her now in Miss Universe Philippines, especially with her stunning, well-styled headshot recently, you wouldn't realize that she went through a lot of challenges or a lot of challenging phases in her life. And so I'm glad that she's very open about this. But only yun nga lang on her TikTok account. So imagine if she finally embraces this whole thing by coming out with a unique hashtag to really reference her name and journey here in Miss Universe Philippines, diba? Because I'm thinking, bakit hindi niya gawin hashtag Zoe101 or hashtag GI Zoe, given how she worked for the US Navy before. So right now, I'm really keeping an eye on her because she really seems to be doing her homework well. Well-styled in public events so far, uploading bits and pieces of herself in the past. So imagine if she plays her relatability up to the fans, she will really endear herself more to us eventually, diba? So I hope we get to see more of this in her social media platforms. So there you go, guys. What do you think about my suggestions here? Do they all sound feasible and very easy to be executed for all these 69 ladies in competition this year? Or do you have creative suggestions as well? Out-of-the-box suggestions as well. So, well, let me know in the comments section down below because wala eh. As I check out their individual socials, they are just so disengaging to follow with all those typical glam shots with the respective ganda-gandahang captions. Kumbaga, wala nang bago. Walang excitement. Wala akong excitement na nararamdaman. And I feel like all these ladies are just going through the whole motions of the whole competition without making a conscious effort to really stand out on their own. Because they're relying too much from their stylists, handlers, camps, and even the organization itself. On their own, dapat bumabandera na sila at hindi lang because they are performing well or not in the pre-pageant activities. Luckily, they have 2 months to make all these paandars. It's finally time for them to really innovate and be one step ahead of the competition as early as now.